In the last video, I demonstrated how building multiple small bases is much more economic in terms of upkeep than building one large base. Today, I present you a design that fully embodies this philosophy. The design is heavily inspired by Wandering Wizard's scattered rocks. His design featured several mini-bases scattered around a sniping tower. However, his design was made for the component age where upkeep was not an issue. TCs could simply be walled in, and there was no need for things like workbenches or research tables. For several months, I've been trying to find a similar design for building version 3, and today I'm presenting you the result. The base consists of a tower surrounded by 3 mini-bases. Take a guess where the TC is located. Each of the mini-bases has its own TC, while the tower has none. Yes, you heard right, the central building of the design comes without a TC. You might wonder how all of this can work, as the 3 mini-bases are connected to the tower. Through a lot of trial and error, I found that you can connect and disconnect TCs without leaving visible gaps. Stairs do not transfer the building privilege onto neighboring building blocks if they are only attached to a wall. Thus, by leaving the square foundation behind the stairs empty, the building privilege does not extend beyond those stairs. To upkeep the tower, one of the mini-bases has to be connected to it. To do that, we simply need to place a square foundation into one of the empty spots. Now the tower will be sustained from this mini-base. Of course, you can only connect one mini-base at a time. The 3 mini-bases are an advancement of my mini-fort design. Each mini-base comes with a main loot room that houses a TC, 4 large boxes, a secondary room which can house various items, and a shooting floor on top of those 2 rooms. The main function of the tower is to present a juicy raid target to potential raiders and to house all the items needed for crafting and researching. I used the top floor for bedrooms, the second floor for the airlock and another loot room, and the bottom floor to provide more boxes, furnaces, the workbench, research table, and so on. The design gives the base a lot of advantages for groups who prefer a more casual approach to Rust and who prefer to focus on making plays. The shooting floors make people feel exposed when they wander through your bases. There's always a risk that you might be spawning behind them and take them out. If you play in a group, you can spawn in different bases, thus leave nowhere to hide for attackers. Another advantage is the minimal amount of necessary metal frags and HQM. Metal needs time to be processed and is needed for a lot of other items, such as guns and armor. Reducing the amount of required metal frags frees up time for you to go out and make plays. If you gather enough metal fragments, of course you can strategically upgrade parts of the base to sheet metal to increase its durability. The use of 3 tool cupboards means that the upkeep tax remains low, 13.3% and 17% respectively. The mini-bases have an upkeep of less than 1k stone and less than 200 metal frags per day. And even the mini-base that sustains the tower has an upkeep of only 1.1k frags and 3.3k stone, which means that this base can be left alone for several days before the TCs run out of material. Worse than getting raided is getting griefed. Raiders who have not seen this video may primarily target the tower, where they won't find any TC, hence no opportunity to grief the base. If raiders destroy the TC of the mini-base which does not sustain the tower, the building privilege of the tower will overlap and prevent griefing. Raiders have to hit the base which upkeeps the tower in order to do serious damage. Once you get the garage door blueprint, each of the mini-bases requires 7 to 8 rockets to get to the TC. This means that a full raid of the tower and all the mini-bases can easily cost more than 30 rockets, which is an amazing level of protection for a base that just costs 34k stone and an insignificant amount of metal. First, test whether you can build the following footprint on the land that you chose. The mini-bases need to be separated from the center triangle by at least 5 squares. Please note, for the bottom mini-base I built out 6 squares by mistake. Apart from breaking symmetry, this is not going to be a problem though. I'm going to build the full footprint as a reference. For the tower, it might also make sense to ensure that the raised foundations and the stairs can be placed too, so try that. the land is not totally flat, no worries. You can use stairs between the bases to adjust for the elevation level. Now we build the first mini base, which will double as a starter unit. In the back, we will build the TC loot room design that I've featured in many of my builds already. To place the boxes, make sure that they're perfectly aligned with the walls. Place items as needed, such as a workbench, furnaces, and sleeping bags. Next, we build the chute. The campfire will make it easier to jump up on top of the furnace. The shooting floor will remain wood on purpose. Making it stone at this point would not add anything to the base's security. Wood helps to save material and make your base a less tempting target. Upgrade the double doors to garage doors as soon as you can. Add a roof to serve as ramp as well as honeycomb. Then add honeycomb to the other sides of the main root room. Once we upgraded the floor tiles to sheet metal, a raid will cost a minimum of 7 rockets. This stage will cost you 7k stone to build and 1k to upkeep. If you need to use the research table, simply place it in the shooting floor and pick it up after use. Before building the other 2 mini bases, break this twig foundation, otherwise you wouldn't be able to place the TCs. Simply copy the design of the first mini base, but feel free to adapt the item placement to your needs at this stage. Once you're done, it takes already 21 to 24 rockets to fully raid and grieve you, and all of that for a cost of just 21k stone. Next, we build the central tower. The main function of the tower is to present a juicy raid target to potential raiders and to house all the items needed for crafting and researching. Upgrade all the triangle foundations, then place walls all around. These stairs need to remain twig. Each of the outer triangle pairs will house one multi-purpose room. You can use those rooms to place furnaces and a workbench. More boxes where you store items for crafting. Or your repair bench and research tables, as you wish. Garage doors work best in terms of mobility, but double doors are fine if you haven't farmed the gears yet. Next, we go outside and upgrade the foundations that cover the empty squares. Please note, we need to invest in armored stairs because only armored stairs are solid. If you can afford it, also add garage doors to the core. They will separate the loot rooms, thus increase raid cost. Above the stairs, place half walls. We use half walls to prevent that raiders can cheaply circumvent the doors by tool raiding the soft side of the outer stone walls. The airlock will go onto the second floor. You can reach it by jumping onto the raised sheet metal foundations outside. The other square can house another loot room, which ideally should be located on the opposite side of the first floor loot room. Next, we're going to build the third floor. Before you place any items, we need to add half-height foundations for the shooting floor. Thus, build half-height twig floors. Then head outside and place foundations on the right-hand side of each of the squares. Now you can destroy the twig and add items. In this case, I chose to add bedrooms. Now we build the shooting floor. Place window frames onto the half-height floor tiles, then add stairs as shown. Finally, place a single door frame with a door and open it. Repeat these steps on the other 3 sides. This design will create fantastic angles for shooting trespassers who are close to the base. Add window shutters to give you extra cover. Finally, add roofs pointing outwards. These provide extra cover and by climbing up, even allow you to check the walls of the tower. Raiders may wonder about the open squares on the first floor, so it makes sense to utilize them somehow. For example, plant a few seeds, hide some stashes, or add a sign saying that the oil refinery will go here. In case one of your mini bases gets raided and you need to replace the TC, destroy the twig that sustains the tower, replace the TC, and then reconnect the tower. In case you accumulate excess metal fragments, consider upgrading the mini bases. Upgrade all of the walls of the inner 2x1 as well as the chute to sheet metal. Upgrade the floor tiles to armored. Then upgrade the shooting floor in the following way. Turn walls and ceilings to stone or even to sheet metal if you're worried about spear raiding. Protect the windows, ideally with metal embrasures and metal window bars. And upgrade all doors to the highest tier possible. Secure the base even further against door raiding by having shotgun traps guarding the chute. As always, I hope you find this design inspiring and useful for yourself and your group. May it bring you safely through the wipe. Until then, Evil Wurst out.